This show is focused on predictions for 2022. This is a formal report on these predictions on the Standish Group's website. Just click on the blue crystal ball and you can download it. It's on our homepage on the website. The predictions in the report and the synopsis of this show were created by Hans Mulder, myself, and other members of the Standish Group. The predictions were influenced by surveys, interviews, and leading technology executives. We also had several rounds of feedback, including Bruce Barnes of Ohio State University and Deb Corte of Harvard, that gave us some really good input. And of course, Jim Creer, our CIO, also had many feedback from him, and plus many more. Now, we've been doing this predictions for about 30 years now. And we first started in 1991 with an online survey called DARTS. Actually, it was a paper survey and then moved into an online survey. We ran monthly DARTS for several years. We also had a focus group, spring focus groups we did. We went around the country of the United States and did about 6 focus groups in different cities like Boston, LA, New York. And each year we had a Chaos University. We brought about 60 CIOs in and talked about things that are going on with projects and other research. One of the highlights of our predictions, so we did an online predictions in 1995 using WebEx, one of the first online meetings. Now, we generally had a set format that was the hottest job, what is the hottest product, what do we see for mergers, and we ran that for a long time. This year, we're doing something different. We call it New Rules, and we have 5 predictions plus a bonus from Hans Mulder. But we always had the word of the year, and the word of the year this year is kinder. We think that this word will be used often during the following year. And to give an example, you could be kinder to Jim or Hans or anyone else, and think about how you would like to be treated, which now we get to our 5 rules or predictions. So our 5 rules this year are the golden rule, the Ben and Jerry rule, the home rules, and the 80-20 rule. And the 5th one is moonshots. We also have a special prediction from Hans Mulder on democratic reforms. Now, the golden rule. The golden rule is, comes from, the kinder word. We want to return to civility. We think this is going to happen. People are going to be more friendly with each other, going to try to enjoy life after the big pandemic. They want to have a more peaceful mind. They won't agree to everything. In fact, when you find a disagreement, just agree to disagree, but try to find common ground in other areas. The one thing we see is purity is out. Purity of thought, is out, and you're going to have more diversity. Diversity is going to be in. In fact, there's going to be a byword for 2022. Now, the Ben and Jerry rule. What's the Ben? Well, Ben and Jerry rule says the highest executive can't make more than 10 times the lowest person in the company. And what we see is the trickle-down economy is going to turn into a tsunami of equity. More people are going to get better pay, more stock options, and we see this coming. There'll be a new class of gig workers, in fact, sort of the internal gig worker, and these will have special rules and benefits. We see benefits coming even to the current gig workers, like from Lyft and Uber, that will be getting stock options and other things. This is going to be a fairly painful transition for a lot of executives, but we think it's going to happen, and we think that we'll see some real movement in making a stronger middle class. Our next prediction is the advent of the micro factories. Now the microfactories are going to be driven, and the catalyst is there's just so much automation, the 3D printer, AI and large data sets, and where you build products, the microfactory will be a factory in the back, small inventory in the middle, and a retail place in the front. We see examples such as the vape companies, and we certainly see the catalyst as long supply lines, inventory. We always try to do just-in-time inventory, but the supply lines have screwed that all up. We also see some good examples in the late customization, such as the vape stores. And also, we think the talent will move to want to be with their own boss. They want to have greater equity. And so they're going to look at these opportunities to create these micro factories. So we think this is going to be a real change in the way people buy, build, and supply things. Our fourth rule is the 80-20 rule. And so this is more on the IT side. We see less IT products, and those that do become products will be more like a minimal viable product or a minimal viable project, a micro project we used to call them. We see that the IT organization itself will start to change. We see that they'll this new, what we call the Central IT or Information Technology Authority, will replace the current IT. And they will concentrate on the mission critical and the enterprise applications. This is because cybersecurity is so tough these days, and they just can't protect everybody from everything. So they're going to try to protect the corporate jewels and let the user departments take over, say, 80% of the applications. And this will also spur on great innovations, because the user departments will have their own IT, and each one, and they will be able to invent things, able to do their own work. And IT will have some standards and some other stuff, but they won't oversee it. So we see a more friendly, accommodating IT. The last prediction we're seeing these. Well, last year we projected the health research organizations, and because of large IT and large data pools, and this we've seen some of this with the mRNA vaccine, where we saw that data and research could come together. And what we're seeing now this year, we're going to talk about more infrastructure. So the infrastructure can help move this along faster. We saw this with Tim Chow and Harry Scott in their partnership with getting children's hospitals data and moving faster for doing research on that. And we think this is going to be great. And we see outcomes, tracking outcomes is sort of the highlight of next year. And now for Hans, and so we see that Hans is going to be talking about democratic reforms. We think this is really an interesting prediction. We certainly see that this could very well happen in the European theater, and especially in the low countries such as Netherlands and Belgium. So we're really excited about this.
Hi, Jim. Well, when we look to the low countries, which actually is Belgium and the Netherlands, we see that government and industry is struggling with how to protect, let's say, your citizens' rights. And we see that from different cases that we too much depend on the rules, and we too much depend on the IT systems which are executing those rules. So because of the, let's say, affairs, the incidents, and people who became hurt by the government, there is a new early development in which we see that we are going to apply high mature flow teams with intelligent IT, such as artificial intelligence, to make sure that every individual is being protected by their own governments. And that, I think, is something which we can see also in different ways of team. So one of those teams is not the DevOps, but the LegOps, the legal and operation professionals are working together on a daily basis to see that everyone has been treated fairly. And by doing that, from the professional perspective, we can see that they are learning, i.e., artificial intelligence, to learn how to respond and how to indicate what is fair, what is sincere, and what is true. So my prediction is that starting from 2022, and I think we'll start in the Western European countries, there will be a more democratic reform based on professionals in flow teams and IT. And I'm sure that it will also get ground in other countries as well.
So to summarize, our predictions are new rules, golden rule, Ben and Jerry rule, home rules, 80-20 rule, the moonshot rule, and democratic reforms from Hans. So if you want to get the report, go to standishgroup.com, click on the crystal ball, and you can download the report. Again, that's www.standishgroup.com, and look for the crystal ball. Thank you for participating in the show, and we look forward to you in the next show.